What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with a United News Roundup. So, if you couldn't tell, obviously, wasn't here yesterday. Wednesdays are usually pretty difficult for me, pretty busy. It's hard to get that time, but we are back today. So, lots to go over, lots of news that's popping up these last 24 hours or so, especially this morning. So, I do want your thoughts on that. So, transfer window just a few days away from officially opening. Remember that it did open earlier this summer to make room for this Club World Cup nonsense. Will we see some deals done this week? Will we see some deals done this weekend? Who knows? Maybe some players leaving out the door. Don't forget, we will be doing a keep sell video next Tuesday. So be sure to pop back for that. Get your thoughts in on that in case you want to have some opinion on who we should keep and who we should sell. Hopefully going to be joined by a couple people for that one as well. So keep a lookout for that one. Let's dive into the news. Please like that video for me. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. I think we're like 14, 15 away from 2,400. And you guys know I do like those nice round numbers. So I like to see the zeros as much as I can. So please make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved, like scouting reports, questions from a boot, what if episodes, all that stuff. And then, of course, go check out the United vs. Everybody store. Right now, there is all sorts of crazy designs. You guys, a couple of you guys have grabbed them. You see me wear them. Go check it out. See if something tickles your fancy. Let's dive in. First, let me get, wow, everyone's diving in. Wooden. So many people. Big up Box. Box is not happy about all these strikers that are on their way to other clubs. Yeah, he's not too happy. We're going to talk about that because the striker situation is an interesting ordeal that we face. Obviously, it's something that we need to work on in the summer. Goal scoring has been a big issue for us throughout the season. It's been a very, very, very glaring problem. Needs to find a solution. I don't know what that solution looks like without Champions League football. It does make it hard. So we're going to talk about that, though. But big up, Box. Good to see you again. Yes, I did put the poll. So while you guys are coming in, while you're hitting that like button, while you're subscribing, while you're sharing, while you're doing all that, get involved in that poll because we're going to talk about Marcus Rashford. Obviously, the big news as well. Where do you think Marcus Rashford will be playing his football next season? Will he be staying? Will he be going to Barcelona? Could Aston Villa exercise something? Maybe he decides he likes it there. Or maybe someplace else. You let me know. We get involved in that poll, so we'll come revisit that as well. Casper, big up. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know we're here to Marcus Rashford, and we'll speak about. Need to also speak about the trend. Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot because that's what we do here on the news showcast. We talk about everything: transfers, just updates, maybe a little bit of the talk about the friendly, which we're going to talk about as well. And yes, Liam Delap, on his way to Chelsea. Yep, we are all over it, man. But you are steps ahead. We will get there. Danny, pick up. Good to see you, Danny. Big up. Hope you guys are having a good day. Today's only Thursday, isn't it, man? Yeah, a little bit of a shorter show probably because I do have a class in a little while, so we will jump off there when that gets started. But Box says Joan Garcia and Buemo to Newcastle, Chirke 8 Norwich City 4. We all wanted Chirke, we all wanted Joan Garcia for sure. We'll see how it all shakes out. Again, some of the Chirke stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit, some of that stuff is no different when it comes to Chirke to City than we've seen about Chirke to United or Chirke to Liverpool and stuff. So we'll see what ends up at the end of the summer window. We'll see when the window gets started, how this is all going to shake out, because there's a reason we call it silly season. The rumors are going to go everywhere. Danny says, yeah, I did see a little bit of a thing about that. Mastantuono to PSG. I don't understand what PSG are got. They've got Ousmane Dembele, they've got Barca, they've got Doué, they've got Kangin Lee, and now they maybe want Mastantuono, who's basically the same as a Desiree Doué. So they're just getting for depth. Are they going to be maybe Kangin Lee? I remember reading rumors a little while ago that Kangin Lee might be looking to leave. We were linked to him when he was still at Mallorca. Who knows? Obviously, I think PSG have kind of gotten away from their whole, I guess, Timu Galactico signing policy where they're getting Messi's, they're getting Neymar's, they're getting Mbappe's, they're getting all these big guys. And now they're actually trying to build a little bit for Luis Enrique. They just got Kvaratskhelia too as well in January. So I'm not sure why these players are continuing, especially the young ones, like they're not going to play. Now, the best thing they could do if they want Mastantuono would be to get him now and loan him back to River Plate for like another season, and then see what happens in a year with some of the players they have. But they need I think PSG probably need a striker too, unless Gonçalo Ramos is suddenly in the plans. But Ousmane Dembele is the one getting all the starts, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah, you're right. Mastantuono is having a good season. He's probably a little too expensive for United's blood these days, though, because that release clause just the price keeps every time I see a Mastantuono rumor, the price goes up. So it's going to be interesting. Danny's not happy. Transfer window's not even open yet. Let's all take a bit of a breath here and see what's happening. We all kind of knew that no Champions League football was going to have an impact. I think we all know that that's just the reality of football. I would prefer us not to try to get some of these targets here just by offering them money like we used to, but we will see what happens. Box says, I think players are starting to be warned off of coming to United or buying into you come to United and you're ruined. To be honest, I can't blame them. And honestly, I mean, I see both sides, right? You can't blame them, but at the same time, if a player is that easily swayed by the media, is that the kind of personality you want at United or any club? If a player is going to be more swayed by the agenda, the bias, and just the social media uproar every time United's mentioned, and they kind of shy away from that. I mean, we need hard personalities, we need mentalities, we need attitude, and we can't have people that are just going to get blown back and forth by the winds of opinion in the media. If that makes sense, that's just how I feel. I'm not saying you're not wrong because it is a shit show, but I think that some players will get their head down and they will go to work because they are professional. I think that's the kind of personality we're starting to target in the market a little bit. The Leachas, these guys. Danny says, yeah, on to option D and E as always. I mean, that's nothing new. That's not an Ineos thing. We've done the options C, D, E, and F and G for years. Moisey, Louis van Gaal, Ollie, Mourinho. Nobody gets their top signings at United. It's just the way it is. Danny says, Osimhen, well, we are going to do all of that. I'm just trying to get caught up on these here. Fox says, I'm ruling out the unrealistic targets like Yarasi, Retegui, Shesko, Thuram. I mean, none of those are completely unrealistic. I'm not too gassed up on Retegui. He's having a decent season, but you guys know how I feel about players who have one good season. I need to see a little bit more of a sample size. So, Fox says, who are we looking at? We're going to get there. We are going to get there. Don't worry about it. Oh, boy. Ten Kang Chai, welcome. I don't think Barca want him. Well, we're talking about that today because the reports coming through the media today say otherwise. But yes, do get involved in that poll. But welcome to the channel, Ten. Good to see a new face as always. Big up. Tang says, Man United got problems selling Rashford and Sancho. I don't think we'll have a problem selling Sancho. I don't know if Chelsea are going to exercise that option. It doesn't sound like they're eager to. He did score in that final, I guess, if you want to call it a final yesterday. But we'll see. I think Sancho just needs to get out of English football. I think the Premier League is just like Antony. I mean, you saw that bullcrap final yesterday. You saw Antony kind of anonymous because once he gets out of La Liga and he plays an English side, he just goes back to the Antony that we saw at United. He can't handle that physicality. Cucurella had him just wrapped up in a nice little bow that whole match. And it was the same Antony we see at United. He can't handle that. He's fine in La Liga where it's a little different opposition. He can't handle the English opposition. They're too physical, and he's not quite that guy. So you guys are funny. All right, let me dive into this. So let's talk about this friendly. So because apparently United lost the Champions League final yesterday. Sorry, no, that was a typo. It was a preseason friendly, not the Champions League final. You're forgiven for thinking it was a Champions League final the way that people were reacting online yesterday. Like, I had to just not go on. Maybe that was a big part of why I didn't do anything yesterday. I just had to get away from social media for a bit because the absolute knee-jerk outrage to losing a postseason friendly. Is it a postseason? Is it preseason? I don't know. Anyway, it was ridiculous. We lost 1-0 against ASEAN, whatever you're called. I can't remember how it's pronounced, All-Stars. And just the absolute rage from social media over a friendly is just, it's mind-boggling. I mean, football fans, like, right? Just relax. It's a friendly. Fergie didn't even rate the Community Shield, and that's like 100-plus-year-old competition. Like, he doesn't, but I don't. And folks are raging about a friendly. Like, it's a match where literally every player that went on the tour got minutes. Like, when you can make more than the 5 subs, like, I don't ever consider that a serious match. And you get to replace. And we were making subs like 30 minutes in. The point of these is you get to see some youngsters, and it's a cash grab. It's all about just appealing to the global market. It's a spectacle. It is what it is. But people are acting like too that like it's the first friendly we've ever lost, period. And they're using it as another excuse to bash Amorim, to bash Ineos, to bash the players. Like, we've lost friendlies. It's happened. We lost to Wrexham. We've lost to Rosenborg, QPR over the years. We've lost to bigger sides. Like, it's a friendly. Most of these overseas tours, again, they're just about letting these fans that don't really get to come to Old Trafford see United play live. That's basically what it is. So you got to see some youngsters, and some of them looked decent. Like Sekou Kone looked absolutely bright. Again, I mean, it's friendly, but again, he's a young kid playing with the first team for the first time. So having another good one. I think with Heaven and Kone, Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vivell might have struck gold. I think those two are absolutely ready to start getting into the matchday squad, maybe featuring in some of these early stages of domestic competitions and things like that, coming in as rotation options. Maybe we'll see, but those two look amazing. Like, you guys let me know what you thought if you watched that match yesterday. Lacey had a couple of bright moments as well. It's good to see him coming back into the picture. Hopefully he can stay fit. But I mean, calling for a manager's job after a preseason friendly is it's so odd to me. But I do think it's a big factor in what's wrong with modern fans, what's wrong with the United fan base in some ways. It's just the catastrophizing, the all or nothing, the black or white, the knee jerk reaction. It's got to be this or it's just burn it all and start over again. Like, I don't get it. And like, right, this is literally Ruben Amorim's first shred of a preseason, and it's really not even a preseason. This is just the postseason. Thierry Henry was just on this week's episode of The Overlap. And he said it as well. He said managers need time. He said his literal words was they need 3 or 4 windows, like, need time. And then he absolutely buried Mikel Arteta, which I love. I love him for, but I just don't get it. But maybe I'm just old. I don't know. What are you guys saying? And here, let me catch up to the chat here. Danny says they were poo. Couldn't even create a decent chance. 4 shots on goal against a bunch of rice farmers. I mean, honestly, we were half stepping it. It didn't really look like we were busting a gut a whole lot. It didn't really look like the players were trying. They kind of looked like they were just in training, really. I mean, and I'm not saying like they weren't bad, but because it was more of the same. But this one just looked like they just really didn't care, honestly. And again, it's a friendly. I really don't care. Casper says Hoyland looks shite. I mean, Hoyland is shite. Let's just be honest. But again, friendly doesn't really matter to me. Block says I didn't even catch the highlights. Yeah, well, there weren't any highlights, honestly. There wasn't really anything other than like some of the youngsters getting out in some minutes. I mean, Johnny Evans getting to play a little bit. He's still getting it. Johnny Hill, big up. To be honest, I found it kind of funny. Garnacho talking all that smack, and then when he gets played against some semi-pro players, he can't even dribble past them. Yeah, I mean, it was similar to when he came on against Spurs, right? If you saw yesterday, like when these Asian All-Stars, they got their goal, they just kind of shut up shop. And that's the same with Rashford when we used to use Rashford. Like, that's not what you need. Like, it's not a good situation for these pacey wingers because there's no room for them to do anything. When you have them, like in a counterattacking system, Garnacho, Rashford, they are awesome. When you've got space in behind and you exploit that space, awesome. When you've got to unlock a low block, when you've got 8 men sitting around the edge of that box, and you have to have a little bit more creativity. Players who can do something in possession, not just on a full-on sprint. And that's the way Garnacho and Rashford play. They have to be running, and then it's like they're like playing Crash Bandicoot. It's just always forward. You can't do anything else. So when you have to stop and you actually do something, that's where we need someone else who can kind of offer something a little different in that final phase of attack. So we will see. We need players who are good in possession in that regard as well. Danny says, honestly, if he set the 18s up in a 4-2-3-1, they would have smashed in the system and shit. Well, we'll see. We don't have players for the system, so it's like that's a big part of it as well. We're trying to put the system in place. The players who are going to be here will be learning the system. The players who aren't here doesn't really matter that much. And when we get players that suit the system. We get players with the physicality that is required now, not only for the system, but for the way the league is going. And we get players who, they suit the system and they want to play well. Like, you'll see a big difference, hopefully. But again, that the amorim is going to bear the responsibility for that. If it doesn't work, he's the one who's got to pay for it. He knows that, and it just is what it is. But we can't judge him 100% yet. Yeah, he's made mistakes. I think this team selection for the final was 100% on him. I'm not saying we lost the final because of him, because the players who he did select didn't show up. But we got to give him a little bit of time here. The guy's literally not had a single summer window. He's not had a preseason. He's literally got Louis van Gaal players starting matches for him now. Like, this is what we have to deal with. Box says, I hear Kone, Thwaites impressed. Lacey still looks... Yeah, Lacey had a couple of good little spells of possession, but, I mean, it's a friendly. So Casper says, I don't think we'll sell Højlund. Can see him going on loan. Well, if it's a loan with an obligation, I don't have a problem with it. But again, we sell Højlund. We still need two strikers. We needed a striker even with Højlund. We sell Højlund. Now we've got to get two strikers, because I don't know if Cheeto's quite there yet. Maybe Wheatley can hang around for a little while. Who knows? Danny says, instantly when Kone Lacey came on, you could see their quality. And that's what you're going to see from youngsters, is they're going to want to impress. They're going to be up for it. They're not going to know any better to some extent. But this is part of what friendlies are for, especially these summer friendlies, is the youngster's going to get a chance to show us something. We saw it with Dan Gore. We saw it with Omari Forson. We saw it with Kobbie Mainoo that first summer. No, not this past summer, the summer before. This is what it's for. Ennis, Amos last year. Johnny says, not going to lie, I think Heaven will be our starting left center back next season, which is crazy to say because dude's only earning $4K a week. I wish I could for him. I mean, he's still like 18 too, so he looks a gem. I'm happy with that signing at all. Danny says, they weren't even the best players in Malaysia, Box. Well, this was an all-star, so this was players from like Vietnam, from like Australia. This was like all different continents basically coming with their all-stars here. Danny says, that Anif Ayman kid didn't even play among other top players in that region. Interesting. Casper thinks Højlund should be playing in the Farmers League. Højlund should definitely be playing in a system that suits just what he offers. I don't really think he's a slow down possession kind of player. But he's also unfortunate that he shouldn't have been starting, and he's in a situation right now where it is sink or swim. Like, there's not a whole lot of time, because it sounds cruel to say it that way for a lot of these younger players, but it's like you have to at least show something progress-wise, development-wise, show something, because we can't slow down that. You can only go as fast as the slowest person that you're with. And unfortunately, sometimes the slowest person, especially in the case of a striker or like a keeper in Onana, that slow person can be an anchor, and it can keep you from getting forward as a club. And I hope we can recognize that and kind of snip the dead wood if we need to. But then he says, I think Osimhen went to the Saudi last year if he was going, but I could be wrong. Money talks. Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff here. It's interesting, but if you look at friendlies against sides like this from like a must-win analytical like I don't know, whatever you want to call it, perspective, it's always going to be a no-win situation for the team. It just is, especially when it's United versus, Asian All-Stars. It's just lose. There's no win here. You win, and it's like you're expected to. That's just cool. No one gets any praise for it, right? It's like, well, yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. Lose, and you get all this outrage, and it's embarrassing, and all this stuff, and it's literally a no-win situation. So this is why the point of these friendlies is not to go out and win something. The point is in this specific one, this postseason, it's to go appeal to the Malaysian market, the Hong Kong market tomorrow, get a little cash. It's like $8 million for these couple matches. And it's a spectacle. It's a show. It's like a traveling show. And that's what it is. So we have that one tomorrow. The next one's tomorrow at like 8 a.m. So it's very, very interesting. Ariz Usman, welcome. Big up. Unpopular, but I think Bruno should be sold because he's halting Mainoo's growth and development. Bruno will get us more funds to get quality players. Mainoo is too good to be benched. We'll see, but big up Ariz. Problem with Mainoo, again, he's only been playing first team football for just a little over a year now. Because remember, He didn't come into the first team picture till last summer, and then he was injured and he didn't start playing really until like November. So he's very, very young and inexperienced in terms of just first team football. He got injured. He's had a couple of injuries, which is a bit of a concern for me. I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. He does look a little bigger and a little more physical since coming back from his latest injury. He literally looks like he's grown like 3-4 inches. It looks like he's gained some weight muscle wise. He came on the other day recently, looked pretty good. He's got a spot in the team. It's just hard to see what that is. He's going to have to adapt his game no matter where he plays. If he plays in this pivot, it's not going to be like what it was before. He's going to have to get around the pitch a little more. He's going to have to be more physical. He's going to have to add a couple strings to his bow. If he plays in the 10, it might suit him a little better. So maybe I could see Manu playing more in one of those 10s and maybe Bruno playing in a deeper role. I don't know. It's really going to be up to Amorim, but his team selection has been a little sketched, but to be fair, but big up getting involved, man. In my opinion, Manu's not there yet. Does he have a high ceiling? Yes. But again, these young players, they need coaching. They need to like have the good environment. And that's something else we haven't had in a long time is we haven't had a great environment for any player, really, let alone youngsters that come in. You know, you've got pressure, you've got the toxicity that's going on, you've got the constant manager turnover, which does hinder individual player development. There is a statistical correlation with that turnover and the low player development. It's real thing. So, but I hear you, totally hear you. Box does not agree. So, moving on to some news here. Major David Ornstein Bamba. I know that's why you're all here. It does concern Liam Delap. Apparently, he's informed interested clubs of his preferred destination this summer, and it's not United, it's not Forest, it's not Newcastle, it's not Spurs, it's not Everton. David Ornstein claims Liam Delap wants to move to Chelsea. Sounds like just the fact that we don't have Champions League football was a big factor. Again, I understand the appeal of Champions League football to players. I get it. At the same time, I don't understand how someone like Liam Delap thinks that he's entitled to it. Like, he's literally not done anything. So I'm not sure where he gets off saying, like, I deserve Champions League football. Like, you can't offer me that. Well, I'm moving on down the, like, who are you? You're Liam Delap. No one heard of you until this year, man. You were playing at Hull 2 seasons ago. So I don't get that personally, but it is what it is. You know, most players are going to want to play in the Champions League. So we'll see what happens there at Chelsea. I mean, they really only got like Jackson, did you watch that final yesterday? Jackson is like, he's horrible. If people want to go on Højlund, I don't know how Chelsea are getting Champions League football when they've got a striker like Jackson leading that line. He is garbage. But maybe Liam Delap will help them. We'll see. I don't know how Chelsea are allowed to do much these days, but what are you guys saying here? Johnny says, my only issue is that if we keep Bruno, I know Ineos will build around him, which is the wrong decision. He plays better for Portugal due to him being a regular team member and not the main man. Well, Bruno, in my opinion, Bruno is literally our best player. When he's having a bad day, we tend to struggle. When he's not in the match day squad, we tend to struggle like we did last year when he was injured. He literally leads the league in chances creation since he joined. He should have easily at least twice as many assists. It's just we've had garbage attackers in the squad. Bruno carries this team, in my opinion. It's him and like Ahmad are the only ones that I'm like, they can pull us out of this and help us get a result. So I think he is our best. I agree that you can't build around him for the future. So the question is, do you take the money now and try to build? Do you trust Ineos to do that with that money? Or do you maybe say if he can stay for a year, kind of help us in this transition process, and then maybe in a year we look to replace him? He'll still be valuable to the Saudi League in a year. It's not like they're not going to offer like a significantly less amount. But again, we did that poll the other day to see what people thought of that. But it's a good conversation to have. So Danny says Ferguson at Brighton is better in my opinion, but it's too injury prone. Yeah, everybody was all over Ferguson a couple years ago, and he got that injury, and that happens. Like, it's not like his fault. But now he was on loan at like West Ham, right? He wasn't really doing much. So when coming back from injuries, I need to see how you're coming, because we've been like burned by too many injury prone players at this club, and I'm just done with it. You guys know that the first thing I look at now when I want a player, when we're linked to a player, is injury record. because I'm done with it. I can't handle it. Luke Shaw has literally missed like half the matches that he's been here for because of just Luke Shaw's been here 10 years. People forget that. He's been here 10 years. He's played the equivalent of 5 years of matches. So we can't handle it, man. Casper says, I think Manuel Ugarte is a good player, but I wouldn't start him next season. Manuel Ugarte is not a bad player. Manuel Ugarte needs to, and he's not bad at his ball progression and his ball retention. We've seen it this season. He just needs to get better at it if he's going to lock down a spot in that pivot moving forward, because he's very good at winning the ball. He's very good at getting around the pitch. He's got an excellent mentality in terms of just his fight, but need to see a little bit more from his passing and his ball progression and his press resistance in order for me to feel 100% confident. Like, I don't like always having to look at a player like Casemiro or Pogba or Ugarte and say, well, they're good at this, but we need someone next to him to, like, I get it to an extent, but I'm like, I want both the players to be able to not have to always have somebody to basically hold their hand and fill in the missing piece, basically. Johnny says, my only question for Ineos is how did they have Delap as their number one target above Osimhen, Gyökeres? I mean, I'm not sure if he was necessarily their number one target. I think, again, we have to be realistic with Gyökeres. If Delap doesn't want us because of Champions League football, I doubt Gyökeres was ever going to be a thing. Osimhen, and we're going to talk about Osimhen in a second. Osimhen may not be off the table, but right now, again, we're in a rebuild. We do need goals, but again, we have to be realistic with what that means. We're not in Champions League football. We are struggling right now financially. There's no way we're just going to be able to go out and get the best of the best. It's just not going to happen. It's just the way it is. So if this were the olden days, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I could very easily see Woodward rocking up the Sporting and offering Gyökeres like $350K a week in an effort to convince him to join. We're not doing that anymore. We're moving away from that, and doing that is exactly why we're in a PSR situation, because that was the only way we decided to get. I think it was that was the way we got big players, and the other half was we want to look like a big club, so we'll just throw money at everything to make it look like we're doing just fine. It's horrible management. Box says, if we're brutally honest, players we've recently bought like Dorgu, Ugarte, Zirkzee, who everyone wants to keep, are not first 11 players. If we're thinking of getting top 4, I mean, we'll see. Zirkzee's had his ups and downs. He offers things that I don't think a whole lot of other players in this squad do offer, but he's only been here a year. So I'm holding off Judd. Dorgu especially has literally been here a couple months. So we'll see. He's just 20 years old. He's got more development, but that's also why I've said when it comes to that left-hand side, I'm not 100% convinced going into next season with Dorgu, Diego Leon, and Harry Amas as our left-sided options. Like, I would like someone maybe a little bit more experienced. Personally, maybe loan out Amas to like a championship side or something and see what he can do in the English football and playing against actual like first-team players. Casper says, we only bought Manuel Ugarte last season. I wouldn't sell him. Now, here's the thing with Ugarte, though, guys, is that he was bought for Ten Hag, and now he's playing for a manager who sold him when they were both at Sporting. So the fact that Ugarte played 20 minutes against Chelsea, did not play at all in the final, like, I wonder what that means for his future. I said the other day, don't be surprised if Ugarte leaves. Big Rob says, here we go. Calvert-Lewin. There it is, DCL. Big up, big up. Yes, please do hit the like and subscribe button for me, please, too. We are on the road to 3K. We're getting there. I think we were like almost at 2,400 when we started the video today. And I like those 2,400. I like the nice round numbers. So I like to see those. It does me some good to see that. Box says Keane, Calvert-Lewin. I saw some of those Moise Keane. Like, he's literally one decent season. Like, and he's literally done nothing before that. I don't get what these. Literally everyone who's having like more than double-digit goals is getting linked to United this season. Ekitike, Delap, Moise Keane. Like, they're not that good. Danny says if we lose out in Mbeumo, we finish. Honestly, I would prefer, like, if it were me right now and I couldn't get my preferred striker target, I would, like, you remember when Liverpool couldn't get Virgil van Dijk? They didn't just go out and buy some random defender. That, like, you have to be smart. And this is why I say you need to build, not buy. If we can't get our established striker target, I get it. I still don't think Højlund is good enough. So maybe there's an option there, but maybe we find a way to deal with it for a year. We get Mbeumo, we get Cunha. We still play 3 at the back, and maybe we play like Zirkzee or somebody as in a little like a false 9 role and let him kind of win those balls over the top. Let him kind of be a conduit to find Mbuemo, find Kuno on runs around him, and deal with that for years. Like how Real Madrid were playing with a front two last season because they just didn't have a striker, which they probably still should have done this season, but who knows? But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not hard to just tweak the formation, the system a little bit. You're getting the best out of Xerxes, you're getting the best out of Cunha and Mbuemo, and they're both going to offer goals. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a manager, so. Richard, big up, Richard. Good to see you again. Danny says Aït-Nouri. Yeah, I would love Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri is an excellent player. I know he's linked with City personally. Aries agrees. Big up. Lucky Singh, welcome back. Says Alejandro going to AC Milan. Well, not if he wants Champions League football. He's not. Johnny B says Cardoso, £8 million player, is better than Ugarte. We probably did overpay for Ugarte personally, but I mean, that's, again, the welcome to United, right? But big up. Lucky, please don't spam, my friend. We see you. I just want to catch up here. But big up, everybody. All right. But on Delap, our list of striker options is going pretty thin. Are you guys mad about Delap going? Are you upset about that at all? I mean, who else would you want to get personally, other than Delap? I mean, be realistic. If you had to pick, be realistic with your striker target. Who would you see us honestly getting if we were going to prioritize striker this summer? There's not many options out there without Champions League football. We talked a little about them the other day. I threw out names. I did that video last week. Mohamed Amora is a guy that I like. Benjamin Sesko doesn't have European football. Who else? Maybe Jonathan David, but I think he's probably going to like Napoli or Juventus, right? So it is very, very difficult. I like Jonathan David a lot. You guys know he was in my summer budget rebuild video from a few months back. Free agent, like he ticks a lot of boxes for me personally. But Ari says, I don't think Martinez goes in ahead of Maz or Euro next season. I wouldn't even plan on seeing Licha back until like November, maybe December, because between recovering from the ACLs take a long time, because what happens when you get your ligament repaired is you take another part of your leg that isn't a ligament, and it's like a tendon, and then you put it where the ligament is, and then it's not just a like for like. That tendon that you replace has to then basically transform. It's got to naturally kind of almost like calcify in a little bit to become the ligament, and that is what takes the longest time with these ACLs. The surgery is like this, but the process, the natural organic process it takes for that part to transform into what it's trying to replace is months and months and months. And then you're not match fit. And then you've got to get match fit. And then you run the risk of calves, hamstrings, and stuff because you've not been playing for so long. And that's the stuff that's happening with Luke Shaw. He was out for so long, and then he was out again for so long. You're starting to just see the little things kind of just creep in. They don't go away. And that's the stuff that starts to worry me. But yeah, I wouldn't count on Licha being part of the squad for a while, but we'll see. We rushed it back last time. He wasn't fully healed. We saw what happened. And then he just kept getting all these random contact issues, like Sufal falling on his leg, and then the ACL. Like, it's ridiculous. Buck says, Leipzig demanding 92 million euros. Leipzig needs some cash because they're not in Europe at all. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Guys like Xavi Simons. I featured another midfielder from RB Leipzig in that video as well. If anyone who watched that will know who I'm talking about. But big up. Lucky wants Mbuemo, Mateta. I'm still not convinced 100% about Mateta. I'm not saying he's not better than we have, but I mean, is he the level that's going to get you to make the difference in a cup competition or something? You guys let me know. Yeah, he's going to Chelsea. Richard says, a guy just let Villa Marcus something. Yeah, maybe we can get him. I think he's Mank, right? He's local. That'll look good for the posters. Lucky things, I'm going to laugh hard at Napoli. I don't think anyone's going to laugh at Napoli right now. They're kind of laughing at us these days. They got two former United players that were deemed not good enough, who were literally scoring in the final game of the season to lift the Scudetto, one of whom is the Serie A MVP. So it's you can't write this stuff. Honestly, I wish that Jimenez did not go to AC Milan in January. He might be wishing he didn't either because they're not in champion or in Europe next year either. But because if Jimenez was still at Feyenoord, he would probably be one of my big targets. It's just timing is everything. Fox says Dortmund's going to demand big money for Guirassy. I remember we were linked with Guirassy a while back before he went to Dortmund. Schick, yeah, I remember we had some Schick rumors a little bit ago. Thuram, Martinez, Alvarez, pipe dreams. Yeah, forget about Alvarez. We should have listened to Ralph Ragnick and got him when he was like $5 million. But welcome to United, y'all. Danny says David was a no-brainer, just like Thuram was a no-brainer the summer we signed home. We should have signed Thuram that January when we lost Ronaldo. And you guys remember we got Sabitzer and Weghorst on loan. We could have just spent a little bit more and probably gotten Thuram January. So Mönchengladbach would have gotten some money instead of losing him for free. That should have been what we did. We should have spent a little bit more money, wrapped that up, and maybe secured something. I don't know. But I'm not director of football. What do I know? You guys let me know. Danny says Thuram, perfect for this system, in my opinion, box, but would he do it in the Prem? You never know. There's always the question. I was surprised that Inter keep collecting these strikers, but, they play with the front two. So, Lautaro has been there for years. Thuram's looking pretty decent. Don't sleep on Ademola Lookman, too. There's some part of me feels like that could be something we could be looking at as well. Atalanta owe us a favor, but we'll see. Kolo Muani, I've never been convinced on Kolo Muani personally. Again, one decent season. Struggled. You could say the same about someone like Gonçalo Ramos too. Gonçalo Ramos to me looked better when he was at Benfica than Kolo Muani did when he was at Frankfurt, but that's just my opinion. That's subjective. Ekitike, again, one decent season was he had like 12, 13 goals. Vlahovic, I've never bought into the Vlahovic hype. He's very, very slow personally. And he might be great finisher. Whenever I've watched Vlahovic, I've just never been impressed. But, that's just me. Casper says, Liam Delap's going to Chelsea. I've accepted it hearing the news. I just hope we have a backup plan. Hopefully we have a backup plan because I still don't think that he was going to solve all our goal-scoring issues, but you never know. Chelsea play a different system. And so, again, I've always said it's more about the system than anything. There's a reason Anthony Elanga struggled under Ten Hag, and then he's doing great in a transition counterattacking Forest team. There's a reason Rashford doesn't look that great here, and he looks better in an Aston Villa side. There's a reason for all of this kind of stuff. It's the system. That's just how it works. Harry Maguire, not good in a building out from the back system. Put him at Everton, he'll set the world on fire because all he'll do is just pick out those runners and he'll win those clearances, and that's just is what it is. System to me is going to mean so much more than the quality of the player or just the name on the shirt. You got to play the system, which is why, if you go back and watch that McTominay video, there is an argument for selling McTominay at that time made sense and why he's doing better in Napoli. Systems make the big difference. Then he says, Jimenez was the one I wanted to sign. 17 million release clause in the summer. We signed Højlund. Yeah, man. I didn't have a channel when we signed Højlund. That was a while ago, but yeah, it's shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Different regime, different time, different manager. I didn't get that one. Jimenez to me was almost he and Pavlidis were having they were in a shootout for top scorer in Eredivisie that season. I think Pavlidis went to Benfica, right? So happy, no Delap. Big up, man. Richard says, the thing is, Sean, I watched CONCACAF, and Jonathan David's work rate was incredible. Exactly what Amorim demands. I've been waving the Jonathan David flag for a while. You guys know that. I think that to me he's been scoring goals for last several seasons. He's good age. I think he offers experience, and he's played in Champions League. And he's a free agent. And he wouldn't have been, his wages wouldn't have been high either. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It's ridiculous. Oh boy. You guys are funny. Harry says, I do have a history of spending silly money when they panic. Seen it with Anthony and Casemiro after we lost 2 games out of the 22-23 season. Yeah, the Anthony thing was ridiculous because Anthony wasn't necessarily a panic buy because we identified him back in June. We just didn't act soon enough. And so we signed him in August, but we basically sat on our thumbs for 2 months. And that's why Ajax asked for so much more money. When we wanted to sign him, he was only 30, 35 million. And then we just waited too long. And then it was a choice between, okay, now my bad, Erik, we didn't get him. Like, do we want him? Because we're not going to be able to sign anyone else. Or you miss out on the guy that you told us about 2 months ago because we dropped the file behind the desk or something. I don't know what happened there. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like he says, Vlahovic is slow. He's a big dude. And so it's getting around the pitch for him is like, on a sprint, he's probably up there, but he's a big guy. Casper says, I can see Vlahovic joining another club outside of the Premier League. I can see him going a lot of places. I just personally don't. He doesn't fill me with confidence, but Bach says, why no clubs want David? Well, I've read that, Napoli and Juventus are heavily linked with Jonathan David right now. I don't see him necessarily as an Antonio Conte player. Juve are a little bit all over the place right now. So I'm not sure. I don't follow enough of Juve. I know they've had some craziness going on there the last couple of years, so I have no idea what their situation is at Juve. But Milan are in a bit of a shitstorm. The whole Italian league has been in kind of a mess these last couple of years with like broadcast rights and all this kind of stuff. It's been a little bit of a craziness, so it might be one to avoid, but we'll see. Let's see. Agile said, well, welcome back, Agile. What are his wage demands? Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. We spoke about it way back when because he's not on that much money now, but I do think he wanted a bit of a wage hike to sign, which would have been, I think, like somebody remind me in the chat. I want to say it was like $150K a week. I don't remember because we talked about it like last month when it was a thing. And it's kind of like studying for an exam. I kind of forget it once it's done and I'm moving on. So you might have to go look that up. But somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, let me know in the chat as we keep going along. Who might you want instead of Delap? I don't think Gyökeres is a realistic option. I don't think that those big names might be realistic. So, because Delap apparently wants Champions League football, but Build this morning have linked us to another striker. Not a new name, but it's been a minute since we've been linked to this guy. We've already spoken about him a couple times, but Build reports that we are interested in Benjamin Sesko. Reportedly, Christopher Vavell watched Sesko last month, and he knows the player well from his time at RB Salzburg, where he signed Sesko when he was like a teenager. What do you guys think of Sesko? He was like, wasn't he like the next big thing when he was at Salzburg? Like everybody was talking about him, but it's kind of gone a little quiet since he joined RB Leipzig. He's not necessarily the main guy at RB Leipzig. They play a little bit of a 2 and a 1, or they'll play like a front 2. Openda has come in and kind of done some things. So, and Leipzig haven't been consistent, like in terms of just managers and whatnot. They've had a lot of up and down, back and forth. And obviously they're not in Europe. So if they're demanding 92 million, like someone said, and they're not in Champions League football, you could probably get that down a lot, but we'll see. Maybe we can send them like Garnacho or somebody, and maybe we can knock that down. But it's not like he's been garbage. Like he's got 21 goals, 6 assists in all competitions this season. Sesko, he had 18 goals, 2 assists last season. He's still just 21. He'll be 22 in like a couple days. Very similar age to Højlund, very similar age to Delap, right around 21, 22. I know a lot of fans weren't too excited about Delap, another younger. I've seen a lot of people calling him like Højlund 2.0. It's like a lateral move. Another striker who's young is going to have to develop. You don't know what you're getting. I know a lot of people want a proven goal scorer. I want someone who's clinical. I don't mind a young striker, but that can't be the only player we sign, right? Which of those three though, between Delap, Sesko, and Højlund, which one has the higher ceiling, do you think? Over the course of the next couple of years, you guys let me know. Let me get back in here. Let's see what y'all had here. Yeah, Vavell did sign him at RB Salzburg. You gotta love the RB connection, man. So Agile says 150K a week for David is reasonable. Who gets 20-25 goals a season? Yeah, and I thought it was a no-brainer. Like Danny said, it was an absolute no-brainer. Box says Gomez is very slight problems when Angel Gomez. Who's talking about Angel Gomez up here? Lucky says he only wants to play mid-table clubs like us. Well, see, it's a brand new season next season. So everything that happened this past season, we don't forget it, but it doesn't really matter anymore. So we move on. You never know what's going to happen this season. Agile was impressed with Sesko at the Euros. Box says get Vardy on a free. Is Vardy? I mean, he's like my age, right? I mean, don't jokes. But that's a Woodward sign. That screams Woodward to me. Danny says they want crazy money, not worth the risk. Oh, do they want crazy money? I mean, they've got Xavi Simons, they've got Shesko. I had a midfielder that I listed the other day in that video who I wanted us to look at from Leipzig, who I think would suit us like a glove personally. Big up, Rich. Good to see you. How are you doing, my friend? Casper says we might miss out if he wants to go to Newcastle. I mean, it would make sense if he wanted to go to Newcastle, right? So it's just we get it. It's part of the not getting Champions League. That's part of the price you pay, and the players and Amorim will have to look at themselves, and they're going to bear a lot of that responsibility and blame for that. Danny says Shesko probably has the highest ceiling between Delap and Højlund. Yeah, let me know who you think has the higher ceiling. Jomo, welcome to the channel. Mbuemo scored more goals than Delap. Yeah, Mbuemo is also like 5 years older, so I think people forget sometimes that age does play a role. I've seen a lot of people were asking a lot of like Højlund, for instance, or even Kobe, for instance. Like, these guys are young. I'm not excusing the mistakes and just the basics that they're getting wrong per se, but I think that and then there's nothing wrong with saying a player is just better than another player. That's just life, right? But yeah, Mbuemo has scored more goals. He is having an absolute barnstorm of a season. But big up, Jomo, welcome to the channel. Rich wants to know, is missing out on Delap similar to missing out on Legbon Lauren? As long as he didn't go on TalkSport and just whine like an idiot after he's retired, we'll be fine, right? Big up, Jomo. Glad Liam Delap's gone, says Lucky. Vardy at 38 better than Xerxes. Shots fired. Danny's going to be pissed off if we don't land Mbuemo. Again, I do think maybe there's an opportunity there. If your number one striker target's not available, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to not just blowing money on just a stopgap or just, hey, we just buy anyone to make the fans happy. I might prefer to maybe start, and Amorim's probably not going to do this because it's just the way it is, but dropping Xerxes to that false 9 or that 9.5, if you guys know the shirt. If you want to go get your 9.5 shirt, go check out the UVE store, but play Cunha off and Mbuemo off to the sides and let Xerxes kind of take the ball and feed these other guys, and maybe instead of playing with a 9, play with a false 9, and you've got runners around them. But it is what it is. You guys are funny. Richard Hawkins said, on a positive note, Fredrickson and Harry Amos impressed me. I mean, the youngsters did well. And like Danny says, Kone and Lacey did. Yeah, the youngsters did just fine. But Shesko, the newest name linked striker-wise. We got another name, though, if you guys were paying attention to some of the news. So this is coming from Italian outlet Napolista, so you might be able to guess where I'm going with this just by the name. They claim United Director of Negotiations Matt Hargreaves, who was behind Patrick Dorgu's transfer from Lecce in January, so he's got a lot of these Italian connections. Apparently, he has met with Napoli sporting director Giovanni Manna and Napoli president De Laurentiis. And this is all coming from missing out on Delap, but apparently the main topic of discussion, according to these reports, was the possibility of getting Victor Osimhen this summer, with the club reportedly now seriously interested in him. According to Napolista, Napoli are open to the deal, but they want Højlund in an exchange plus cash. So we would have to pay cash on top of giving them Højlund in order to get Victor Osimhen. 33 million pounds is the price being thrown out there. Sounds a bit too good to be true, in my opinion. I was certain that Osimhen was heading to the Saudi League. I thought that was pretty much done and dusted. Obviously, we haven't seen anything. I've seen some reported leaked images of like a glitch in the website at Al Hilal where like they had a shirt available to buy and then it was taken down. I've seen pictures of like them testing the screen at the stadium with like an image of Osimhen, again, blurry, supposed leak, who knows? So I thought it was all done and dusted. I'd already moved on from Osimhen, especially after January, right? But again, he might not care too much about Champions League football if he's choosing to go to Al Hilal. So maybe not being in Champions League wouldn't matter if he were to come to us. He might find playing for United a bit more respectable than playing for Al Hilal. He won't make as much money, but it is what it is. Now, the reason I mentioned, normally I wouldn't mention it, but this source was actually the first source that broke the McTominay Napoli news last summer. So there is a little bit there to consider as well. Who knows? Maybe Hargreaves was just there to discuss Garnacho. We know Napoli reportedly were very heavily interested in Garnacho in January. Maybe Hargreaves went there to go bring McTominay back. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people would love that, but it's so funny, man. Lionheart's big up, man. Good to see you, my friend. So Napolista is a Naples-based outlet. So, what are you guys saying here? Mateta, you guys talking about Mateta playing for a club like Palace? They're not going to. I mean, they're in Europe. They got Europa League next season, so I'm sure he wants to play in Europa League at least. Buck says Osimhen will go to the Saudi League. In my opinion, he wants that money. Yeah, and that comes down to what a player values more, money or playing not in the Saudi League. Who knows? Casper would love to get Osimhen, but it might not happen. Yeah, we don't know. Like I said, I don't write it. I just read it and let you guys chat about it a little bit. This was a freak season. It was a freak season in a lot of ways. I think that it just the worst parts of everything going wrong at United were really kind of front and center this season. The lack of the poor ownership, the all the culmination of the last couple decades of just poor decision making. I think we're seeing a lot of that finally start to be unavoidable and starting to really cause problems. Poor physicality, poor mentality in the squad is really, really on show right now. I think you're just seeing this season really highlighted the worst of the worst in terms of everything that's going wrong right now at United, and it just you can't hide from it. So Debasis Gadai, welcome. Hopefully I got that right. Apologies if I didn't. United will have to pay $500K a week wages if he's targeted by Saudi. He might, or he might just not want to go to the Saudi League and, take his normal wages that he would be getting, if the Saudi League didn't exist, for instance. And some players will value playing, for a European club than playing for the Saudi League and getting a lot of money. There's a reason Bruno Fernandes might choose to stay. He might not want to go, even though they're offering $700K a week, $200 million over the course of a 3-year contract, if you include all the bonuses. Some players don't value the money. Some players do. It'd be hard to turn that down. So I get both sides personally, but Lionheart says, are we just going to miss out on everyone? We very well could. We very well could. I'm not going to lie. Casper says, I'll let Scott McTominay stay at Napoli now, as far as I'm concerned. A lot of United fans do want him back. A lot of United fans didn't want him gone. I did that video the other day breaking down, hey, were we wrong to sell him? Go check that out if you want to get a little bit more context and kind of get all the considerations in front of you, and you can make a decision for yourself, because it is a lot more nuanced than, hey, he's doing well at Napoli, so United made a mistake. So go check that out. Lucky Singh says, I don't think Osimhen just wants money. Who knows? Who knows? We're going to find out, though, aren't we? So I want to move on here because I want to make sure you guys make sure you got into the poll that's going on, because this is where we're going now, because we got a big Marcus Rashford rumor this week, and that's coming from Matteo Moretto, respected journalist. He's good buddies with Fabrizio Romano. They both have jumped on their streams and stuff, but apparently, according to Matteo Moretto, Barcelona have had recent contacts regarding Marcus Rashford. Apparently, he's wanted by Hansi Flick. Deco really likes him. He might have even been able to go in January, but Romano does add that there are positive feelings coming from Marcus Rashford's side that after this new meeting with Barcelona, that things are moving in a good direction. Really, still early stages, according to Romano. United apparently want $40 million. Sean Connolly claims that Barcelona want to try a loan with a $30 million obligation to buy plus add-ons, which is probably going to be $40 million-ish when it's all done and dusted. United are maybe open to that, but they apparently, according to Sean Connolly, want Barcelona to cover his wages as well. So this is all over the place. We got journalist Tony Juan Marti. He adds that Rashford would also be willing to take a wage cut to make the move happen. I don't get all of a sudden his boyhood club that he loves, he's not willing to take a wage cut. And in fact, he's willing to drop his levels once he gets his new contract, but he's willing to take a wage cut to go to Barcelona. Make that make sense. We know that Barcelona is Rashford's dream club. I think we can all agree that it's pretty much bridges burnt for him at United anyway. I don't think there's a whole lot of a way he comes back from this. I think both just with us as fans, with Ruben Amorim for sure, I'd be upset if I were his teammates too. I'd be like, dude, we could have maybe used you this season and you opted to do this. Like, that hurts the team. I think anytime you willingly hurt your team and hurt your teammates, and like, I think as a player, I would be frustrated with my teammate for doing that. But Barcelona, though, if Rashford thinks he's going to get minutes ahead of Yamal, Rafinha, he's crazy. He's been back in Belfast. That's what's happening. The only way he gets minutes there is if Lewandowski retires and Rashford somehow becomes this world-class number 9, because there's no way he's getting in on the wing ahead of either of those guys right now. The big question is just where will he go? Because I don't think he's going to stay here. Lucky says Rashford might go to Villa permanently. I did put that poll, so let me check what you guys are thinking in this poll here. So I said, where will Rashford be next season? Barcelona, United, Villa, or other? So most of you, more than half of you actually said he was going to go to Barcelona. Just 16% say he's going to stay here and be here next. That'll be awkward in the dressing room. 3% of you say he'll go to Aston Villa. 29%, so a big chunk of you say that it's not going to be any of those three. So if you said other, where do you get your suggestions in for that? Where do you think he's going to go? I'm going to end that poll real quick. Nick says just smash the 8. Awesome. Appreciate that, guys. Yes, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you are new, please. Appreciate it. We are on the road to 3K. Love to see the new faces. Love to see the channel growing, you guys. Box says Rashford wants to play center forward these days. I thought he wanted to play wing. I think Rashford, as long as Rashford can play, because you remember, position in a starting 11, like the graphic they show you ahead of kickoff, it's not set in stone. It's not like if you start at a 9, that's where you can only stay right in that area of the pitch. I think it's less about the position and more about the way Rashford's going to be used. I don't think he wants to play in this channel kind of system. I don't think he's comfortable playing in a slower possession-based system. That's why he looked very good at Villa. Very transition-oriented system. Same under Ollie, where you just put the ball, get your head down, run, get on the end of something, cut in on your right foot, shoot. Now, I will say under Ten Hag in that 22-23 season, Rashford did add a little bit more strikers' goals to his repertoire. He was scoring more of these headers, central areas in and around the box, which I like to see. I like to see him adding that kind of stuff. But there's other areas of Rashford's game that he's never really improved. His decision-making in that final third, his off-the-pitch decision-making, really is just decision-making in general. The guy's been playing first-team football for 10 years now. Same with like Dallo with his final ball. It hasn't improved. The things that he's been bad at, he's never gotten better at. And so, cool, you got like 2023 was an excellent season, but you got your contract. But since then, it's just been downhill altogether. So, and then obviously when you go give an unsanctioned interview saying you want to leave, I think that's pretty much it for everybody. So, Leinart says, smells a bit like Moisey, this one. All those targets will end up with just one. Mind you, Cunha is a wee touch better than Fellaini. I don't know. I will challenge anyone to find me a player with better chest control than Marouane Fellaini personally. So, and anyone who's going to grab Guendouzi by the hair and just pull him down for that. I mean, that was just crazy. And for some reason, I'm here for it. But that was hilarious. Lucky thinks Rashford's going to say no-go Villa permanently. Interesting. Box says prime Fellaini was instrumental in our Europa League run in 2016-2017. Casper is split on where I want Rashford to end up, Barcelona or Aston Villa. I'm not fussed. Yeah, as long as we get rid of him. I think that's where a lot of people are going these days. Villa can't afford him. Yeah, Villa grabbed a bunch of players. I couldn't keep track of who they brought in on loan and who they brought in permanently, because they brought in Rashford, they brought in Daniel Mellon, and they brought in Marco Asensio. I can't remember off the top of my head, aside from Rashford, who was permanent and who was a loan, because Asensio has actually been very good for them. Agile says Rashford's wages is a problem for him. And that's the problem at United for the last 15 years almost, is we give players too high wages, and then we can't get rid of them, because like we saw it with Martial as well. Like Sancho, we shouldn't have signed on that. I mean, with Antony's wages are a big sticking point in selling him. Doesn't make sense. Danny says Jose take him, LAFC. If Rashford, I mean, or Fenerbahce, are they in Europe at all? I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't watch Turkish football, so I don't know. I mentioned that a while back, Dan, in the MLS thing, the LA, maybe the Galaxy, Orlando, maybe one of those cities that's in an area where I feel like Rashford would like the LA's, the New York's, the Miami area. I don't think he's going to enter Miami, but I could definitely see him kind of in. Gareth Bale went to LA, that he won the league there, or the cup they call it or whatever. Who else was the Carlos? Oh, the Mexican winger or attacker, I forget his name now. He was at LAFC for a minute. But LAFC, I think, could be a very good fit for Rashford. I did that in a video a while back. I mentioned that. DeBastis says, United's fundamentality, give them big wages, then suffer because you can't sell them. That's been the name of the game for a while. So I'm hoping that since Woodward's been gone, new regime, new outlook, kind of clearing out the wage bill, getting guys like Rashford, Anthony Sancho, Casemiro, maybe De Gea as well, off the books. I'm hoping that we can get our wage structure down to a more sustainable place. There will be players that we will have to pay more. That's just part of it. There is a correlation between high wage bill and success as a club. There's a correlation there. If you read Soccernomics, you'll see. But there's so much more to it than that. And so I think that hopefully we can start, again, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. We've only seen one summer window under Ineos so far. It was under a different manager. I hope that they learn from their mistakes and we're going to see something different now. It's a new manager now, new system, new target in terms of just the intangibles as well, the mentality, the physicality, that kind of stuff. We'll see. They've got a lot of ground to make up, though, Ineos and Amorim and these players as well. So they have a lot of work to do just to get back to neutral. Like you think we're going to buy Morgan Rogers. Villa got no Champions League now. Yeah, we'll see. They got Europa League, though, so there it is. So Richard Hawkins says, here's an interesting one. Ollie want Bayindir. Well, we got Bayindir from Fenerbahce, so maybe he wants to go back to Turkey. We'll see. I do like Rogers, though. Morgan Rogers is a very good player. I do think he ticks a lot of boxes for United, for this system. Physical, just has a mentality, has a winning mentality. You can go check the Twitter profile for the channel if you want to see why his goal was chalked off, because it wasn't just about Bayindir holding it. It wasn't about the whistle. The whistle was blown because he stepped on Bayindir's hand. So you can't step on a keeper's hand. So, but yeah, big up. Rogers is a good one. Danny would prefer Mbeumo. Yeah, I like both. Let's see what we got here. So moving on here. Speaking of another winger who burned some bridges, Rudy Galletti claims that Erik Ten Hag wants to sign Alejandro Garnacho at Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Ten Hag is at Leverkusen now since Xabi Alonso went to Real Madrid. Ten Hag was the guy who really brought Alejandro Garnacho into the first team picture, even despite the kid's discipline issues in that first summer. Remember, Ten Hag got here that summer. Garnacho was already having disciplinary issues back then. Please, Erik, take Garnacho, take Anthony, for the love of God, take Onana, take everybody you signed with you, please. Except for De Ligt and Mizrahi. We'll keep those guys. But just take them all, please. It's so nice. And as one of you guys mentioned earlier, AC Milan are reportedly also interested in Garnacho as well. So clearly no shortage of interested parties. We know Napoli was a big fan. Do you think Garnacho's burned his bridges at United? Are you ready to see him go? Would you give him another chance? This is his third season, really, as part of the first team picture. He's having the same disciplinary issues. He's having the same decision-making issues on the pitch. Hasn't really improved in many ways. He's had a good season numbers-wise, but part of me wonders if that was kind of his focus, was getting some goals. He'll have a match where he'll look like he's trying to create a little more, but then it's very easy for him to just regress to the mean and revert to type, and just always get his head down. And just, it's like sometimes, as soon as he gets the ball, he doesn't care who's open. He doesn't care what's in front of him. He's only going to try to get as far as he can up the pitch and shoot. And that's a problem. That's what Rashford's been doing for like 9 years now. So, but what do you guys think of Garnacho? Has he burned his bridges? Where do you think he might be going? Please, Ten Hag, just do us a favor, man. You cost us so much money with some of your bad players. I don't blame managers for how much we spend on players. It's not their fault. But when Ten Hag was the guy in charge of a lot of the scouting, and he just got it so wrong with so many players, like that's where you start to get the strikes against you more often. But Cunha is basically replacing Garnacho in the starting 11. Let's not have it any other way. Like, even if Garnacho was here, Cunha is going to come in and he's going to start ahead of him. Like, he's just better. Speaking of Cunha, though, did you guys see this bullcrap from the BBC? This graphic they put out listing Cunha as like one of the players in the Premier League who walks a lot during a match. It was absolute ridiculous, this graphic. I mean, we got so much crazy anti-United bias. We got Sky, like Warnock, physically walking the distance between a wall and a free kick after that Arsenal match. Never seen that done before in a studio. Now we're talking about how much distance these players walk. It's absolutely garbage, man. Like, he's not even here yet, and the media is already trying to spin this negative narrative. I guarantee you, if Cunha had signed for like Liverpool and not us, the narrative would be completely different. They'd be singing his praises left and right. Oh, it's a masterstroke by Liverpool. Arne Slot does it again. The agenda is real. I'm trying to tell you guys, the agenda is absolutely real. Is he? All of them are loans. I didn't know that Daniel Malen was a loan too. Box says they're all loans. Interesting. Oh, I got to catch up. You guys are getting super involved. Danny doesn't see anyone paying 40 for Rasmus. We will see if he goes to. It's kind of like Anthony. If Rasmus goes like Italy on loan and he looks like it suits him, Anthony's probably upped his value a little bit just with the time he did in La Liga this season. You never know. Casper thinks we might be stuck with Højlund. Box thinks we'll be lucky to make the top 4 next season. I liking the optimism from you guys. Let me get a drink of water real quick. Trying to keep an eye on the time here too. Lucky's happy to take any Premier League striker as long as it's not Calvert-Lewin. Interesting. Jomo says that anyone see Garnacho? I saw a couple images of both Garnacho and Ahmad kind of giving it to some fans. I read that they were kind of getting some abuse, and so, take it with a grain of salt, but it's just weird. Lucky thinks Garnacho will be wearing an AC Milan shirt. So who would Garnacho be getting in that AC Milan side? Because Christian Pulisic just had an excellent season. Rafael Leao, who's the other guy? Did they get Okafor? Is that who they got as well? Who's playing in those wide positions? Is Garnacho going to dethrone any of those guys? Debashi says, if we don't sign the minimum of 2 strikers, Højlund stays. Yeah, I mean, remember, Højlund, we were trying to sign 2 strikers when we signed Højlund. We only got Højlund because we couldn't afford anything else. So that is the way it's going to go, unfortunately. Casper says, I heard we might sign goalkeeper Freddie Woodman from Preston. Emi Martinez. Yeah, we talked about Freddie Woodman a couple months back when those links first pop up. I haven't heard anything since, though. Lucky things, Juventus, Milan will sign Alejandro Garnacho. I haven't seen any Juventus. I've seen the Napoli links. Those haven't really gone away. Yeah, like Danny says, Woodman would be a replacement. Yeah, I think because Bindier is for sure going. I would like to get rid of Onana as well, but I don't know if that's necessarily top of a priorities list at the moment. Stephanie Griffith, welcome back. Big up, Sean. Just going out the door. Catch you all soon. Big up, Stephanie. Good to see you again. Devasi says, "Oh, they insulted his mother. Is that what happened? I didn't see what happened. I just saw some photos. Interesting. Richard says Anthony went missing last night. Yeah, I said that at the start of the show. Like, and it's kind of like United against Spurs in the final, right? We play against non-English opposition in the Europa League. We look amazing. We play an English team and we look in our level, or we looked in the Premier League. Same with Anthony. Anthony can't handle the physicality of Premier League. He goes La Liga. That's his level, but he gets to a final and he's playing a Premier League side. The physicality just turns him back into the Anthony that we know and love from his time at United. It ain't rocket science. It's just the physicality, and we know that our squad in general is just not physical. So, again, this season really highlighted some of the worst of the worst. So, you guys are talking about Mbeumo. There is a good chance we'll probably miss out on Mbeumo. Newcastle are currently the favorites, according to a lot of outlets. Muppeteers was bumping on it today. I mean, again, like I said, it makes sense. Newcastle, they could do with an upgrade on that right-hand side, and they are in Europe, and they're better than us, just in general. Like, it's just is like, let's not try to hide it. We'll see. It is what it is. This is part of the rebuild. I said this the other day. Rebuilds aren't overnight processes. Thierry Henry said it on the low overlap. Managers need a couple windows, 3 or 4 windows, to really start to see their team. You've seen, look what happened to Arteta. He spent the last 5 years trying to build his team, and he's not done anything with it. Everything he won, the FA Cup, was with Emery's side. So there's a question to be asked there. Henry even went in on Arteta a little bit, so I'm here for that. But let's see. Midfield. Let's talk about midfield, because Tutto Atalanta claim we have already held talks to sign Ederson from Atalanta. He's reportedly our dream signing for midfield. We've been linked to this guy for like a year. I've seen so many prices out there, 50 million, 42 million. Who knows what's going on? He's the kind of player you come in and you trust him to take over that midfield. You don't have to worry too much about development, about the inconsistencies. He'll maybe have an off game against certain opposition players, but as far as, he's just one of those players where you just bring him in, you don't have to worry about him. Like signing Gyökeres. You don't have to do anything with Gyökeres. Just let him do what he does, kind of a thing. So it really depends on, I think, outgoings in that midfield right now, because we've got even fringe guys like Collier and whatnot. I don't know if Collier is going to be here for a minute. I think it depends a lot on Casemiro too, because Ederson would be on a little bit hefty wages. Casemiro still on big wages. Maybe we'll sell Ugarte. I don't know, but the Ederson rumors just won't die. So let's see. Anthony just can't face the Premier League. Yeah, I mean, I've said it, man. It is what it is. The physicality. Yeah, that's why he was bad. Yeah, at Ajax, he was an absolute world beater, but he was kind of given a little too much respect at Ajax from the opposition. He was able to dribble through 2 or 3 defenders at once and do just fine. But when he got to the Premier League and people weren't giving him that time, they weren't giving him that respect, they weren't giving him that space, and they were just getting physical with him, and he found out this doesn't work anymore. He had a choice. Either he's going to have to push himself to get better, or he's just going to kind of shrink into himself. And he kind of chose the latter. You could see his confidence was just absolutely shot after that. There was no longer a whole lot of getting your head down, trying to beat a man. It was stop, pass it back kind of thing. Oddly enough, the times where Anthony did show a little bit of confidence on that right side, he actually created something. He scored goals from his right foot, some important goals from his right foot. He actually created opportunities. He just didn't do it as often. You could see just he didn't back himself in those 1v1s, which you see from a lot of United players these days. Bach says Ederson will be mad to join us. I mean, some players, they're ready for a move. Some players, maybe they do like United. There are players who do dream of playing for United. Let's have it right. We are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. It just is what it is. But we got, with these Ederson links don't go away. Liverpool have been linked as well. But I'm starting to wonder, though, if Amorim doesn't rate Manuel Ugarte. Again, he let him go to PSG when both of them were at Sporting. He didn't play in these last couple matches, really. Maybe Amorim doesn't think he offers enough on the ball. Maybe he just wasn't he was very young when he was at Sporting before, and Amorim opted to let him go and replace him with Morten Holman, who was a little bit older. Who knows? But no minutes in the final is not a good look. 20 minutes against Chelsea is not a good look. And even if you're not in the plans, if you weren't in the plan for the final, you think maybe he would just play you against Chelsea. But 20 minutes is not a good look. So Dabasi does not think our fans will give Amorim another season. Well, fans might not have a choice, but Amorim's got a lot of ground to make up, like I said. Liner says, I knew Højlund isn't a fan favorite, and rightly so, but I would still keep him at the club. I don't know. I just think the kid's a late bloomer. Well, again, it's just, we don't know if he's a late bloomer, but unfortunately, I don't know if you have that kind of time anymore at United. And I think this season might have been a little too bad for Højlund for a lot of fans. The first season was great, contextually, speaking. Young, 20 years old when we signed him, come to a brand new league and still put up the goals and assists that he had. He was our top scorer, and he was one of the top scorers in the Champions League in general for a minute, even though we didn't make it out of the group. So he's not bad. He's had a horrible season, and he's getting to the point where he's like Onana, where he's hurting us more than he's helping us. And when that starts to happen for me, I'm like, you either need to sit down or you need to go. And because we haven't had any other options striker wise, I think that's just meant we're subjected to this week in, week out. And I think that's just has kind of hammered it home for a lot of people. Castro says, we can miss out on Ederson, not highly recommended in his opinion. And a lot of people not sold on Ederson personally. Big up, Richard. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your dinner, my friend. What we see here, Casper is not too fussed if we don't get Ederson, but we're running out of options. Well, there are a lot of options. I listed a few options in that video from the other day. And speaking of midfield options, you guys know where I'm headed with this, right? Oh, it is time for another scouting report. I know you guys are probably getting so tired of him, but we've spoken about this guy a couple times now. We mentioned him. I haven't really done a dedicated scouting report to him, but I saw it since we're talking about midfielders, and I've been talking about this guy. Let's bring him into the chat. So, speaking of midfielders, you guys, let's talk about Lamine Camara for a little bit, because this kid is very, very good. Plays for Monaco, central midfield. Still just 21, but he is very, 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 very good. Excellent passing range. Very good playmaking, very good vision, very good positioning. The guy just knows where he needs to be to get involved in the play and where he needs to put that ball to create an opportunity for his team. Every time I watch this kid, I've been impressed. He reminds me of, like, it's hard to describe, but like he's got fight like an Ander Herrera, but he's got like skill on the ball like a Paul Pogba. But he plays like a combination of both almost. And I'm not saying he's like a 10 out of 10, but he's like, you took some of that ability to hold on to the ball, carry the ball, pass the ball of Pogba, took that fight of Ander Herrera. I mean, that's very much who he kind of reminds me a little bit like what Seki Kone was doing yesterday. But 2 goals, 7 assists this season. So from midfield, team of the week twice. Plays in that pivot, uses the energy, using the physicality. He wins the ball, and then he's got the ability to move it up the pitch. He's in the top 8% this season for long balls, top 15% for those medium passes, and he's a top 30 for short. So again, passing range on point. Top 20% in among midfielders for passes into the final third, which has been one of our biggest struggles right now. Top 25% for carrying distance. Again, the ball sticks to him. And you guys know if you've been watching the channel, how I feel about midfielders who can carry the ball themselves and who aren't just there to get it and pass it, get it and pass it. I love you have passing range, but if you can be press resistant, you can drop a shoulder, if you can shake off pressure to carry the ball 10, 15 yards up the pitch, I've got mad respect for you. And this guy can do it. He has a really good knack for popping up at the edge of the box to get shots. If you look at his heat map this season, it's literally just a bread blob inside his own half and inside the opposition half. So again, ideal box to box. I think that suits our system to the T. Off the ball, he's an absolute force. He's in the top 20% for possession won in the final third. Again, something we really need to do. He can be a little too forceful. He's got 9 yellows this season, so he's going to have to calm down a little bit. But in terms of, like, again, the possession won in the final third, top 10% interceptions, top 25% blocks, top 15% for tackles per 90. The guy is very, 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 very good. So the problem here with Kamara a little bit is that he literally just joined Monaco. It was only for 15 million euros. So again, he wouldn't be like super, super pricey. He's probably going to be paying like Arden Yashari level numbers to get him out of there. But Spurs reportedly wanted him. They were looking at a player plus cash offer. I think they were going to offer Basuma plus cash to make way for this kid. Liverpool have been linked in the past too. In terms of box-to-box, playmaker, physical force, this guy is exactly the kind of midfielder that Amorim needs in this pivot. He does a little bit of everything, and he does it well. He's got the physicality as well. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, Danny says proper player. Yeah, he's excellent player. Danny says baller. Yeah, dude, he's the truth, man. I like this kid a lot. Tobias says, I vouch for Kamara. Thank you. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who thinks he's very, very good. Yeah, like Danny says, he is a bit more of a developed Coney. Like he just wants to get the ball and do something with it. Like, and I like that. Players who don't shy away from things, players who don't hide from getting involved, players who back themselves in these situations. That's mentality. That's the kind of thing you can't teach. You can't just go to a player and be like, hey, be tougher. Like, what is that? What do you mean be tougher? It's not how life works. Like he says, proper midfield, do strong, fast. Yeah, he's very, very good. Passing actually top tier. He's an excellent player. I really like this kid a lot. Lucky's going on Suleiman. Is that Southampton player who did Mizraoui dirty? Was it Mizraoui or Yora we played? I was at that game, that Southampton match, if that's who you're talking about. Was not a good game from us until like the last 8 minutes or 10 minutes or so from Ahmad. But so it was good to get that. But yeah, overall, I was not happy with the game personally. Yeah. Sulemana is very, very quick. Honestly, if Ollie were still here, if Ten Hag even stay here, Sulemana, I would say, yeah, go get him. But again, it's about systems, and we don't play with these fast, rapid wingers. We need players who are better just in possession, personally. So I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not. He doesn't suit the system. So you guys, let me know what you feel about Kamara. I think he's an excellent player. I'm not saying we're linked to him or anything. That's the point of the scouting report. So I'm just looking at players that I like that you guys might not be fully aware of to let you guys know. The same thing with Yashari, and now Yashari's blowing up. So you're welcome. Lightheart says 9 yellow cards in Ligue 1 should be technically just a slap on the wrist in the Premier League. Yeah, he's got 9. He got a red as well one day, so he's got to work on that a little bit. But let's wrap it up here. We got another goalkeeper link. So this is coming from the Mirror, and I've seen it on Ojogo as well. So it's a Portuguese source. Ojogo is not a very reliable source. I go back and forth on the Mirror, but I'll get your thoughts on this one anyway. But this is a new goalkeeper. So apparently that these sources claim that both United and Man City have held discussions with Benfica regarding Anatoly Trubin. He's got a 100 million release clause. It's claimed, though, that Benfica could be open to 40 million. I don't know when the last time I saw anybody go out of Benfica for less than like 70 million, but I like Trubin a lot. I think he's a very good keeper. Good age, physical keeper. He's a good shot stopper. His save percentage is good. He commands his area, top 20% for crosses stopped. I just don't know, like I said earlier, if a goalkeeper is high on our list in terms of priorities. I think had we gotten Champions League and had a little more money to throw around, or if we sold like Bruno, I think maybe there'd be an option. Or maybe if we're starting to get offers for Onana, I think maybe we would do that. But I would still maybe go for Joan Garcia. He is cheaper. I could still see the merits of trying to get Emi Martinez on a free and working with that for a couple of years and then revisiting the goalkeeper then. We'll see. Emi Martinez on a free does seem kind of like a no-brainer as well. Goalkeeper in general is a priority for me. If you guys know, I gave up on Onana a long time ago. I was at the Galatasaray match last season in the Champions League where he and Casemiro just, I don't know what that was, but watching Onana in person and just you could see it, you can feel it in the crowd, just the complete absence of confidence in this keeper. He's not good. He costs us more than he helps us. So again, the links to Joan Garcia haven't gone away. That one to me, low release clause, one for the future. I think just I move heaven and earth to get that done ASAP and then just go tell Onana to find a new club. Like, I don't care where you go, but you can't stay here kind of a thing. But let me see here. Casper says, but as you say, he's just in for, he just joined Monaco, Kamara. So Agile says, quite like Andy Doof from Lens. He's an excellent ball carrier. Interesting. I'll have to go check him out. The name sounds familiar. Lucky says Amir is rubbish. Like I said, I don't write it. I just share it with y'all, and you guys let me know. I do like Chevalier Tabassi. Probably going to be very expensive in terms of all the goalkeepers that we could possibly be interested in. He's probably going to be the most expensive one, but I do like him a lot. You're absolutely right. Casper says that I true and heard Man City trying to buy him. Yep. So the links are City and United both taking a look at him. Kai says, my first signing would be a goalkeeper. We can't keep playing with Onana. Oh, you're speaking my language, Kai. I think that, I get why there's some sort of an appeal to Onana. Like when you're building out from the back, you need a keeper that's good on the ball. That's why we sold David De Gea and we got Onana in the first place. Not because he can pass it, but because he's comfortable with it. Unfortunately, eventually you will have to defend corners or free kicks. You will face shots. And Onana he can't do that. There's more to goalkeeping than being good with the ball at your feet. I get modern football, the percentages are there for playing out from the back, but you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to command your area and stop shots. And he just doesn't. You saw him, like, again, I don't read too much in the friendly, but you saw it again yesterday in this friendly. Shot comes in, he just pushes it right back out into the middle of the box and says, there you go, have another go, son. Go for it. Like, he's done that. Justin and I were at the Brighton match this season, and he did the exact. He's cost us so many goals doing that. It's just embarrassing, man. Danny says, if Onana is in goal, forget about any. Dude, Onana sticking around might be the straw that breaks the camel's back for me. Like, if Amorim isn't going to the board and pushing, like, get this joker out of here, he's an absolute bluffer. Did he win a contest to be here? Is that one of our deals with like Melita Coffee or something? Did somebody win a contract? Like, what is happening here? This guy is a joke. He's an absolute joke. Go to the Saudi League, go away. I don't care. Lucky wants a striker first. Maybe I'll put a poll in real quick. Let me do one last poll before I let you guys get out of here. Oh, priority. Goalkeeper or striker? Boom. Come on, mouse. There we go. All right. Well, you guys let me know what your priorities would be. Because you guys know how I feel. I'd be replacing him immediately. Box says we're going to be around 11 to 18. We'll see. This summer's. A lot of it's going to happen. Depend on the summer. If we don't do what we need to do this summer, forget about top 10. Like literally, forget about it. And if we don't get top 10, Amorim is probably going to have to go because if we don't let's say we don't buy a whole lot of players this summer. What do you do, right? I think this summer is going to be more about getting rid of some players. But again, we've already heard the same party line back and forth now. Like we have FFP limitations without Champions League football. We're trying to trim the squad down. We've got like this, that, and the other thing. I'm trying to get the best out of the players I have. We're hearing all the same tired shit about just probably don't expect a whole lot. Basically, it's basically telling us not to expect a lot without telling us not to expect a lot. But Danny says, I disagree on non-replacement more important than a striker. Well, get involved. Get involved. Oh, no. Yeah. Get involved in the poll. Let me know what you think. Because the goals can come from anywhere. I've said many times, like when we say we need to score goals, doesn't just mean striker. Cunha can pitch in if we get him. Buemo, that's going to be guaranteed goals. Bruno's got goals. And so obviously you want your striker to score. That's why you get him. But the goals can come. We need goals, period. I don't care where those come from personally. Agile says, Onana does have some nice white choppers. Could see him staring in a dentist commercial. He'd probably drop his toothbrush, though, wouldn't he? Just go to get it and then just put it back and then just, nope. Casper says, Onana should go to the Saudi League, as you said, and replacing him with Jan. You replaced him with Jan Oblak. Jan Oblak, what is he, 32 now? He's a little older than what I'd like because you'd probably have to think about replacing him again in a couple of years, which, yeah, you do the same thing with Emi Martinez, but I don't mind that because he's free. So it is what it is. Unai Simons, I like Unai Simons a lot at Bilbao, right? He's a good keeper. He's a good age. He's good experience. What is he, 25, 26 now? So the point is there are a ton of keepers out there that are better than Onana. Like, just get it done, man. Box says we've got about 6 key areas. Yeah, man, we need so many positions. It's ridiculous. Minimum, 6 or 7 weeks. And remember, Liverpool. So Liverpool, when they got Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp came in October, November, got to the Europa League final, lost the Europa League final. They had a massive clear out that summer. They got rid of like 7 players, and then they targeted guys like Wijnaldum. I forget who else they signed that summer, but they basically went on a whole rebuild, and that was the start of the rebuild. And that's been the problem: is they started the rebuild, they had a plan, they stuck to it. We have not done that since Ferguson retired. We've never had a plan. We've never stuck to a plan. We keep buying for managers instead of sticking to an ethos and a culture and a long-term plan. And this is why we are where we are. So what are you guys saying here in this poll here? So 67% of you say we need a striker. 33% of you say we need a keeper. All right. So let me see what you guys are saying here. Kai says, with a good goalkeeper, the team will play more confidence. Remember, we had Van der Sar. Problem is, we still are going to need a keeper who is semi-comfortable on the ball because under Amorim, we still will play out from the back. So that's just what we need. We don't have a choice. Because if you bring like De Gea back, like all these people want, like it's not going to work. There's a reason we let De Gea go is because he's not good with the ball at his feet. He's just not. So you're going to have to find a keeper who's better at owning the box, better at stopping shots than Onana, but also a keeper doesn't have to be as comfortable as Onana, but you need to have someone who is semi-comfortable on the ball. Like you just have to. Otherwise, we're right back to square one because they won't look good in the system because Amorim's not going to stop trying to play that. That's just the way we're doing it. So, Casper says Liverpool getting Ekitike. Are they really? Interesting. Maybe they'll just start praising him for running around for the last 3 years like they did Darwin Nunez. The jokes. Lionheart says there's more keepers out there than strikers. Crazy times we live in. Well, it wasn't until like Allison and stuff that keepers and like when Van Dijk and whatever and defenders and keepers are starting to get the respect they deserve. They are very valuable. A clean sheet is worth a point. You could score 4 goals though with a £100 million striker, and you could still lose a match if you don't have a good defense back there. So, Box says I back Amorim, but even by free hit standards of this season, he's really taken. Yeah, Amorim's got a lot to answer for sure. I think we need to back him a little bit. He still deserves some time. He doesn't have the tools to do the job. So if you guys wanted to go build a house and I give you a toolbox full of crayons, you'd probably be like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, is this what he's doing right now? So it's part of it, but I think some of his decisions have been iffy. Agile says kicking it long doesn't work well either. We lose it and concede possession back to the opposition. Yeah, I hate when all of our front players are facing their own goal, because you got no options there. Like, if you're going to kick it that long, you needed to do that when the keeper had the ball initially to find somebody on a counterattack. But you sit there and you pass it around the defense. He comes back to Onana, and then he just hoofs it, and then we just give away possession anyway. And it's just everything we do in that is wrong, and it's because the players are garbage, man. Slice of SIB, welcome. He says, are you UK based? No, unless I have the worst English accent ever. No, I'm not UK. I live in the States, my guy. But welcome, big up, welcome to the channel. Box says, Frimpong, Kirke, Verts, Ekitike is a 10 out of 10 winner. Well, sounds like Frimpong is gone. Verts, gone. Kirke's, I go back and forth on in terms of if he's even leaving. Ekitike, I'm still not convinced. He's had one semi-decent season. And it strikes me, he could be a player who's at the start of an upward trajectory, or it could be like a Darwin Nunez or something where he has one good season and that's all you see. Who knows? But 4 players is not enough still, in my opinion, personally. Debassi says, no, Onana's major issue is clearing the ball from corners, low crosses. His legs are just stuck in the goal line. Like, he trembles and makes bad choices. Yeah, Onana is like scared to death of the ball coming within 20 yards of his goal. He just doesn't do it. That goal we conceded in the final was an absolute joke of a goal. And he plays a major role in that. The own goal we conceded against Ipswich Town, he plays a major role in that. He's played a major role in a lot of things. He's literally the reason we crashed out of the Champions League last season as well. But it's so annoying. Yeah, they do have Marmaras. I've liked Marmaras for a while. He's very, very good. Yeah, big up, Casper. Big up. You guys are funny. Lucky says, I'm pretty sure we will convince Transfer Target with fresh project to embrace. But that's why we're targeting players who are probably going to be on their first, second contracts. We're looking more at physicality and mentality than we are just, status, like reputation kind of a thing. This is part of the rebuilds. You start small with a rebuild. It's like you're building a house. You don't look at the posters on the wall, the paintings. You don't look at the colors and the flashy thing. You look at the foundation, the boring stuff, the simple stuff, the cheap stuff. And then you start from there, because that's the important stuff, recognizing what went wrong in the first place. So Slicer says, we must get Alex Tam and promise Akinpelu. Get these Terminators for cheap. We don't need to lap at all. Interesting. Is that promise David, or is that like his middle name or something? Let me know. Alex Tam sounds familiar. Where do I know that from? He says that Starov's our striker issue. Interesting. Nick says Sean is from Michigan, New Zealand. Welcome back, Nick. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And then finally, on a random note to end things, I got to be honest. This whole Alvaro to Real Madrid thing, the more I read about it, the angrier I get personally. I just can't. I understand a little bit of like why we so quickly let go of Alvaro at the time. Like, Ten Hag was told Luke Shaw is going to be back, Malacia is going to be back. He signed Malacia. I get it. You want to back your players you targeted, you brought to the club. But I don't understand why Ten Hag maybe couldn't have been a little bit braver, maybe taken a closer look at Shaw's injuries, Malacia's injuries, and just said, you know what? I'm going to back this youngster. I'm going to stick with this youngster, embrace the United DNA, and backed Alvaro. I get that he was under pressure. It's always risky to back the youth when you're under pressure, but that's part of the job, and that's part of what it is to be United. Even under pressure, I mean, I'd rather roll the dice on youth and even lose than to continue to spend unnecessarily, to continue to shoot yourself in the foot, to see youngsters walk away from the club after they're not believed in, after they're let go for pennies. And what this does is also we're walking further and further away from who we are as a club. And I just get angry when I read about that the more and more. So I think we definitely made a mistake there personally. And I think that a lot of it just had to do with the pressure felt, and just a part of it is probably just due to a continuation of what's wrong with this club. We're getting further and further away from who we are in so many ways. And so sorry, I had to rant. I read more about that today, and I just get more and more frustrated. So it is. Danny says, oh, that is Promise David. Okay, big up. Buck says Alvaro Fernandez is better than Dorgu. I mean, let you guys decide. So 77% of you want a striker over a keeper. I'm going to close that poll now. So more of you guys want more goals. So probably did a scouting report on here. Slices. Sanjay, better late than never. We are getting ready to wrap it up though, buddy. I got to get going here shortly. Agile says, can't believe Ten Hag didn't play Alvaro. I mean, I get it when you're told by the doctors, like, these other players will be back. Like, you're not a doctor. You're taking their word for it. But again, I, as a manager, would have looked at their injuries, would have looked at maybe what they offered, would have looked at long-term, what the issues might be with the injuries. And I personally would have just said, I'm going to go with this kid. He looks like he's got it. And we'll know if he does it or not. But we were playing Amrabat at left back. We were playing Lindelof at left. I was at the Crystal Palace match that we lost. When we played Amrabat at left back, it was a shambles. Alex Tam is an Estonian player. He's a monster. Interesting. I will have to go look that up. Castro says, Alvaro going to Real Madrid is a real shame. Did hear something about Ahmad going. Yeah, we'll see. I read something about Ahmad today, but I don't believe it. But yeah, we'll have to check him out. Interesting. Slices. He plays for NK Olympia. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last word. Maybe spell it phonetically and I'll do better. But I will look that up when I'm done here. But big up. You guys know what we do, the scouting reports. If you want to get more involved in the scouting reports, if you want to maybe throw out the comments and maybe suggestions and maybe see them featured, the memberships lay all that out for you. You can get involved in the scouting reports. Every now and then we do questions from a boot where I get a question out of here and we read that and let you guys discuss that. We got what if episodes. You guys can check out those what if episodes. You can suggest those as well. So check those out. Danny says it was a bad call from Erik Ten Hag. I think it was a bad call. Lucky says Dorgu let just grow, looks strong. Yeah, I think, and I'm trying. Not trying to like lump Dorgu into this conversation. Dorgu is not part of it. It's just going back at the time. And like, it's like McTominay, like the decision made at the time based on the information that we had. That's all we can go on, right? Dorgu's is like 2 years later, but it's just, I'm more mad at Ten Hag about that. More mad at the doctors at the club too, but we all know that they're junk. So Debasi says, Ahmad sources were from Team Talk. Yeah, I don't buy into Team Talk. I don't do Team Talk. I don't do Caught Offside. I don't do Fricayes or any of that. None of these guys ever have real sources. So promise David and Alex Tam, we will get them both for such good cheap prices. I'm going to look up Tam when I'm done here, but big up, Slices. Welcome to the channel. You're speaking my language, but that is going to do it for me, you guys. I'm going to let you guys go. I got stuff I got to go run and do real quick, too. You guys know I have class. So until the next one, you guys, enjoy your day. Hit that like button for me, please. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 3K. Check the memberships. Check that GoGoalShop code if you guys want to get $5 off when you register at GoGoalShop. Get yourself some sick United gear. And please check out the Unitedverse Everybody store. You can get one-of-a-kind gear, hoodies, T-shirts, women's clothes, kids' clothes, all of it. You can feature that. If you do want to get that, take a photo, send it to me. I'll throw it up on the channel. Big up, tag me on Twitter if you guys want to, if you get something too. I'd love to see people doing that. But I appreciate everybody jumping in, all the new faces, as always. Keep a lookout. As the news drops, we will be back to get your opinions. But enjoy your Thursday. Remember, United do play another friendly tomorrow. Try not to let it ruin your day. Try not to get too knee-jerky about it. We'll see you guys on the next one.